got a podcast. Everybody is a critic, but nobody want a minute. Everybody going live now. Everybody want it right now. Click the link up in the bio. Everybody got a new line. Everybody is offended.
So, Doug, this is Tom, also known as Upgrade, aka
Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
aka Smucky Thompson, aka Little Introvert,
AKA I could beat your girl in Street Fighter. Everything. I just found an arcade around here. It's like one of those like barcade type of things. And they had a machine there, and like in perfect condition. You know, usually it's like, all right, one player or two players gonna have a messed up stick or something, whatever it is. But perfect condition, and I love it too because I joined like some competitions. I got my ass kicked. It was a good reality check. I'm good enough that I could play through the whole arcade. So like, you know, with 1 quarter type of thing, it's like I get my money's worth.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, I know I'm at least here for a good half hour.
I was the same way. Like, I ran an arcade for a long time, and I remember going through Tekken 3, and I beat the entire, like, the match time for the entire game was 6 minutes and change to go from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, that's
I remember beating the guy who had the highest score, and then he just sat there forever trying to take back his score, and he couldn't get it.
It's so good. The one tournament that I entered, it was like, you know, I was also freaking out. I don't know how old I was, but I was so fucking nervous. And as I was playing, like, this guy just completely destroyed me. And then in the middle of like the last round, the arcade shut down. Like something happened with like the machine, so then they had to restart it. So now I'm thinking in my head like, this. I hope it's just over at this point, because then I'll have an excuse at least, you know. So you know, they get it back running and we played again. But the guy that I lost to ended up winning the whole thing, so I felt a little bit better, you know.
That definitely takes some of the pain off.
Yeah, but I knew like. Oof, I was like, damn, I'm not. This was also before, you know, online gaming. So I didn't really know how good people were out there. Like, I knew I could beat all my friends. I knew I knew I was decent at the game. Yeah. But then, like, playing the real pros, I was like,
playing people that practice for 8 hours a day and shit.
Exactly.
See, like, the arcade I ran, do you remember how they used to have those simulated baseball games where you would actually swing and it was like a batting cage kind of thing, but it was just a projection screen?
No, I never saw one of those, actually.
We had one of those at my arcade, and after we shut down the arcade, we would literally have like wrestling matches in the baseball cage. It was like you had to climb out over the top. It was the greatest thing. It was the funnest job I ever had.
That's awesome. Yeah, like even Dave and Buster's, like, yeah, it had like most of it is like, you know, not so much I don't know, I guess like competitive gaming. It's more just like fun, but it is still amazing to go and just, you know, it's like I'm in an arcade, but now I could also drink at the same time.
I'm taking my daughter there on Sunday. I've never been to Dave & Buster's, and we have one literally right up the road. So,
oh, it's a blast! It's a blast, man. And that's what's great too. You know, it's the whole family can have fun. So
you heard our conversation as you came in. Apparently, Doug's into amputee porn.
Before this conversation continues, like, there's a part of me that wants to close my blinds, because if I look this fucking white on camera, we're about to talk about this fucking subject. I would rather have a little bit of more contrast and brightness. So continue, Bob.
I went to grab food. I came up and I was like, oh shit, I forgot my drink. And then I put the plate down and I just hear something about amputee porn, and I was like, hold on. I was like, let me just make sure. And then I ran back downstairs to grab a drink and came back up.
That's the first thing that came to my mind when I said heavy R. I'm like, they're known for fucked up shit, so it's amputee porn. But
dude, I've never heard of heavy R. No idea.
Oh, dude, I highly.
Wait, that's the site?
Yeah, like
website?
heavy-r. I think it is. I shouldn't be promoting this. It's just
you're
going to open up a world of darkness for people.
You're saying you think it is, motherfucker. You know what it is.
I know it's vaguely that. I'm not sure if it's exactly that.
I know I have it. I know I have a link on my desktop, but that's all I know.
We shouldn't be. I don't want to expose people to this darkness, man. People don't need this in their life.
Oh man. Yeah, man.
I've seen many things since being out here.
So that leads me to question number one. how did you end up in Vegas? Like, you're a New York guy. How did this happen?
We should introduce the guest
Yeah,
first. We haven't really given a proper intro to the show.
Okay, so this is Upgrade Hip Hop out of New York. First turned on to you by Weird Science. I found out you guys were coming to Florida, so I went up to the show, and that's when we first met. And I know you guys all traveled down here in a little Kia. That's what I remember.
Ooh, what a drive!
Yeah, it was you, Ernie, Josh, and
Brandy.
all of you in that little car. I saw some pictures and I thought it was quite hilarious.
It was fun though. That was still like my favorite tour probably.
Oh, I had a blast. It was you, Weird Science, Bluebird, Sadistic.
Early adopted,
Yes.
I think maybe. Yeah. Yeah, and it was cool because at that time, like we had like the main people. It was Sadistic, Early Adopted, Weird Science, and me. And then as we traveled to like specific things, it would be like a couple of the spots would have Mega Ran, another couple of the spots would have Bluebird, another couple of spots would have this. So that was pretty cool, like to meet up with a new artist every couple of days.
You're New York.
Yeah.
You're New York. And Doug here is the more underground hip hop guy of the two of us. Like, he turned me on to some people I'd never heard of a couple weeks ago called the Meter Maids from New York.
Fucking love Meter Maid, Brooklyn.
Oh, I never even heard of them.
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago they were around.
I got into them through Sage Francis. They released some stuff under Strange Famous Records, and that's how I found them. And I just loved the fucking beats they were doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're on Bandcamp too.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. I had no idea. I do know Sage Francis. I had no idea that was.
Yeah,
awesome.
Sage. I first heard Sage through Doug back when we lived together. And when would that have been, Doug?
2006 or 2007, around there,
Yeah.
I would say. Been a minute.
Yeah, that's when I first heard Sage. I'm always much more old school rap. Like, people get into my car when I'm driving Lyft and shit, and people are like, "What's this? Was this new?" I'm like, "No, this is Bone Thugs and Harmony. This is not new." You know what I mean?
Bone Thugs and Harmony. My favorite
Mine
group.
too. Mine too.
Yeah.
Have you heard that song they put out with Mercules? Yeah,
it's new.
It came out like 2 weeks
I guess.
ago. It's called Homicide. I have this dude in my car, and we're just chilling, just listening to music, kind of low. And I pull up to a light, and these dudes pull up next to me, and they've got their system cranked, and they're mean-mugging me. And I looked at the dude, and he's like, "Are you gonna do what I think you're gonna do?" I'm like, "Yeah, just cover your ears." And I cranked my system, and I was playing that new Mercules Bone song, and he's like, "Dude, you just stole that man's fucking ego. He just turned his shit off and put his head down." Like, he would not look at me the rest of the ride. It's a good track. I think Crazy has the best verse, but Crazy generally has the best verses, I think.
I love them. I absolutely love them. It was actually the first group that it was the first group that I liked without having my older brother's permission to like something. You know what I mean? Like, it was the first thing that like I wasn't just trying to like whatever he did. I was like, I saw the first of the month video, and I was listening to it, and I was just like, I don't know what the hell I am watching or listening to, but I love it. And then I told my brother, and he's like, I'm not really into them. And I was still able to be like, I really like them though.
Right.
You know, like I could never say, if he said he didn't like them, I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. Like, no,
I don't like them.
No, I'm.
But I was like, I
listening.
can't fight this. Yeah.
One of the things that sticks out to me when I go back and listen to those old albums, I mean, going back to East 1999, I love that album, but the thing that sticks out to me, especially for that time period, was the production value of that album.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they put a lot of money into that album. I think Eazy-E just said, "Here, I'm going to throw everything I have at this. You guys go do your thing," and because it sounds so much more produced than everything else around at the time.
It was definitely different at the time. And I hope I don't get the main producer, DJ, I want to say Unique.
Yep.
It was Unique, right? Okay.
I fuck up facts all the time, man. It's all good. That's why I got to go back and fact check myself.
So mad. I mean, I'm so bad at names in general and names of tracks and when everything. So I mean, his production style is amazing. On so many of their projects. But then you also did have Dr. Dre and stuff at the time. So, but it was just, again, just a complete, a completely different sound. I mean, that still blows my mind to this day when you hear an artist with a genuinely, completely new sound. In my opinion, somebody like Homeboy Sandman, is very, very unique. He came out with records with like Aesop Rock and stuff, and but yeah, it's just wild to me that that you could still have something that sounds completely brand new, not a little bit. Oh well, this kind of reminds me of this. It's kind of where you don't know where to put it. You're like,
right.
Wow, this is just what it is.
Like I hear a lot of people that, and it sounds contrite now, but everyone's like, "Oh, The Weeknd sounds so brand new," and I'm like, "The Weeknd sounds like 1985 to me."
Sure,
like Blinding Lights is a brilliantly crafted pop song, but it sounds like it was written in 1985.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It feels like it was lifted from like I always, when I hear that song, as much as I enjoy listening to that song, it feels like something out of the Vice City soundtrack.
That's fair.
It really,
That's fair. Yeah. Like you hear that, a little bit of Flock of Seagulls, and you're good.
It also reminds me of Drive too. Like, oh man, I want to go racing tonight. I don't know how to race, but like now that I'm listening to that, now you got that song in my head, and I'm like, I want to go in a race and get into a fight with a guy on a motorbike.
We're talking about the movie Drive, right? Like
yeah.
That soundtrack? Oh my god, man. Oh my god. I just recently put it on, and just the intro alone, I'm like instantly getting a good feeling. Like, I love that sound.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack.
There was a sample of that intro song that Childish Gambino used on his royalty mixtape. I forget which track, but it was so fucking catchy.
Kid Cudi actually used one. I think Kid Cudi's song was called Teleport to Me. I don't know. I forgot what the original one was called. But yeah, he sampled that also. And I was jealous because I kind of was hoping to do it, but I didn't. I didn't pull the trigger.
See, I'm envious. I'm envious of people like you who have that kind of mind. Like, one of my favorite parts of hip hop is listening to people use their skills up here to take other people's art and kind of repurpose it. Where the fuck was I at, Bob? What was I saying? I'm a little high right now. Forgive me.
You're always high. I'm talking about people repurposing things and being able to add.
But that's as much as I love lyrics and identify with them, though. Like, that's one of my favorite things about indie and modern hip hop is being able to like listen to the sample. I love listening to different beats and samples. Kid Cudi, that Kid Sees Ghosts EP, I thought was one of my favorite things to listen to.
I think also a lot of people discredit it just because they think it's like just stealing another song, and just kind of whatever, sampling. It goes one or two ways. People either think, they see the whole creative process behind it, or they just think, oh, you're just stealing somebody's song and remaking it. But like, I mean, there's sometimes, I can even say for myself, I'll be in a restaurant or something and I just hear, some 2 bars of like something weird. I'm like, what the hell is this? Shazam it. See what the name of the song is, go back, try to find that part, and then try to build around it, and I think, you listen to somebody like DJ Premier or something, and it could be the simplest, 3 notes that make but it's amazing, like the fact that he could do that is so amazing.
Well, I mean, let's think back to a series. Agree. You did a series of videos where you took and repurposed other things, like you did the
X-Men,
the Cars
Fucking
for
X-Men.
Kids video.
Fuck
the
that
X-Men video.
That was awesome as shit.
Skin Colossus, begin the mosh pit. Rinse and repeat till we bring in profit. Keep the mind stock, rich as sidelock. Needed eye drops, it bread is cyclops. I'm no angel, I live unstable. Breaking this bread like I'm using panko. Steal your Iceman, steal your cable. Sharp the saber, 2 paws, the fangs grow. Reaching the body, go lucky as domino. Multiple body blows, even the blobber. No leaving like adios, I am unstoppable. Able to touching the body of roll. Hit a couple times and I cut him off. Going through a walls like Juggernaut. She claw on my back like Wolverine. Scream so loud she mimicking Banshee. Sniffing a white queen with my choking hazard. Cloak and dagger get soaked and splattered. Paid to get sliced from lady death strikes. Stain my bed twice and sprayed with wet wipes. Reeking the havoc, they seeking for static. I'm leaving them early like beating the traffic. A beast on the track and I know I ain't going. I'll take a quick silver, my feet are the fastest. Phoenix from ashes, rise to the top, won't stop.
You know what sucks is a lot of things, if you see like throughout the years, you'll see me do a lot of just like different things, whether it's I like to I always like trying new things. I like things that are exciting to me, feel good, whatever. I'm kind of past the point of really worrying about how other people are gonna think, type of thing, and like really just more in like a creative process of let me just make something I like to do. And it sucks because with those videos, I had a lot of fun doing it, even like putting my face on the things and stuff like that. But when I saw that they weren't getting like hit as much as other things, I kind of stopped. But I always, in the back of my head, always want to like kind of bring it back because I did have fun with it. I just didn't know if anybody was actually enjoying it.
So good.
Those are so much fun.
That's one of my favorite things about MC Chris when he does those April Fool track once a year, where it's like some cool like Evil Dead song or that. Like I think you should bring it back like once or twice a year. Just do something dope. I fucking love them. I thought they were great. I could sit here and suck this guy's dick for 20 minutes. Bob, take over for fuck's sake.
So your two biggest videos, I'm gonna assume number one would be that Pokemon one.
I guess on Facebook.
And then you had the one on Funny or Die.
It's funny. Was that on Funny
There was
or Die?
one on Funny or Die.
Oh, the
the One Dance remix.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot that was on there. So things like that, also to go back, Facebook has completely messed everything up. It's really bad on there, and it sucks because like I hated Facebook before, but I still was like, well, at least I get I can like pay to promote my music and get more hits. It's nice. Now I pay and the people who like my page can't even see it. It's horrible. So at the time, like the Pokemon Go song that I did, which actually Earn filmed that also, and we went down in Kingston. We went down to we just went like downtown where there's we heard there was a bunch of people playing Pokemon Go, and we're like we'll hopefully there could be a couple people in this video. We go down there, it's like nothing we've ever seen. I mean, people walking around like zombies, everybody searching for the same thing. Our mind was blown. Like that was right at the beginning of it, and we couldn't believe it. And there's something like really beautiful about it too, because there were some kids that we talked to that were like, they haven't been out in forever. There was like full families together going around playing, Pokemon Go. So, and then we would just ask like a couple kids, like, hey, you want to be in a video? You wanted this or whatever, and they loved it. They had a blast. Then they shared it with their friends. Look, I'm in this. But unfortunately, Facebook now is horrible. But that's one thing I've kind of had to come to grips with. That just I know like a lot of my funny stuff will get more views or more listens or whatever it is than like the more serious stuff for the most part, and I just have to I don't want to run away from that because both of them are me, like it's just that sometimes it's a little frustrating sometimes, but like you put your heart into something and it's like, next. Message! And then you think of like, oh, I'm gonna rap about this bottle. And it's like, oh, this is the biggest song in the world. It's like, wait a second, really?
Every time I come across the I'm Alive video, I look at the views and then I look at the other videos and I'm like, how is that possible? Like that video speaks to so many people, but no one's fucking seen it, and it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I can, again, like I could complain about it, but also at the same time, I think, like seeing like the amount of people on a small scale that have contacted me about chemical imbalance and told me, how much that it affected them, even to say it saved their life, even to say it helped them through their recovery process, helped them through anything. I mean, the amount of things that I got from that, was there's no better feeling than that. But then, then I started thinking like, I don't know if it was like I wanted more people to hear it just based on the fact of like that I really did think that this could help more people. So it's like if this is happening on this level, on this amount of people that are telling me that. It's like maybe we could get it to a bigger thing where more people will be affected in a good way and say, oh wow, like this speaks to me in that kind of sense. So it was like not so much that I wanted just to be like, oh, I want everybody to know who I am, but really getting those messages was unreal. I mean, like, you know, it was something I just decided to make because I was going through it. I remember, you know, telling my like group of friends at the time that when we were all like work on music and stuff, I remember telling them like, this next project, you guys might not really understand, but I have to do it, like just for me. And I'm like, then we can go back, but you know, right now I'm going through a lot of stuff. I feel like this needs to be heard, whatever. And I mean, luckily enough, it actually, you know, was the reason that, I mean, shit, it was the reason that I would even be on your guys' podcast, would even probably know who you guys are, would know, you know, would creep into the Coheed stuff, got the Eagle Vision, you know, like all of that. It was great, but it was also good to know, like, I did that without thinking any of that, you know, thinking like I was nervous. I was like, oh shit, why am I doing this? And it was good too when, like, at the time, you know, now you definitely hear about it a lot more, which again, like, that just in, you know, this is being very real, but like, at first when I see that, I go, damn, like, I did that, you know, like, nobody paid attention to me when I did that. But then I have to take away that ego part and go, you know what, but this is great because so many more people are talking about mental health and it's a normal thing now.
You know, me and Doug, we didn't talk for a long time. And when we first started talking again, I turned him on to you through that album. I sent him a link to that album. I was like, you need to check this out because he had been going through some shit.
I was in the lobby of my apartment building where I'm now living when I first moved here. I think it was my first month in, and I think I was only sober for like a month and a half, and that was something I definitely needed to hear. There's a lot of things over the last 3 years that have definitely played a big role in who I am now, and I'm not going to go on ad nauseum as much as I'd like to, but you are absolutely one of those people. You and Josh both, man. Sick Kids also contributed just as much as Chemical Imbalance.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. That's awesome. It's awesome, and you know, even coming into contact with Josh for the first time, I remember like we both knew about each other, and I think there was a level of respect just in general. And actually, I was just talking to Ern too, and we still all don't really know exactly how, like, when I met Ern to then meet Josh, I don't really know. I know that we did a show though in Middletown, New York, and that's the first time that I remember, like, you know, introducing myself and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, like your stuff, like that was cool. But what's great and what I feel like has always been the best thing when it like comes to like collaborating with people is we became like friends first. You know, it was like hanging out and just enjoying being around each other, having conversations, whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like,
right,
wait, should we make music? Should we do something? Like, you know,
so
and
I'm gonna cut this part out of the podcast, but I'm gonna ask. You and Josh have advertised this project that no one knows anything about, and I don't want to put anything out there, but is it coming out?
Oh, you don't have to cut this out.
Yeah.
So,
no, you don't have to cut it out.
Fuck off, Doug.
Yeah, no. You don't have to cut this out. I'm trying to think because this was what we announced this like
over a year ago. There was like pictures of you guys in like army uniforms with emails, links to sign up.
I'd want to say yes, definitely. Like eventually, it's gonna come out. Getting on everybody's schedules, and then also getting on to Chris Bittner's, the person who like makes and masters everything, and makes the beats. Like he was making beats and stuff like that. Yeah, I now I'm forgetting how much that we actually said. And
that's what I was saying. Yeah,
that's all.
I'll cut it.
I don't remember now.
Yeah, that's why.
None of this shit.
No, but you don't have to cut it.
Like legit, you guys, you've never talked about it, and I've talked to Josh, and he's never really talked about it, and he's like, we got the emails, and then that was it, like fucking radio silence, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, is it some like secret shit that's happening like 22. Like, what's happening?
It sucked that we didn't mean to do that. We had a plan. Unfortunately, it's just, it's tough to get on everybody on the same schedule and everything. But a lot of it is recorded. I actually put on Patreon like a little snippet of like me and Josh recording, like when I went over to his place and stuff and recorded. But I think it'll definitely eventually come out. I think we're trying to get Josh to come out to Vegas, and maybe I think the problem is once we're together, it's
just go.
We're ready. It's like, this is amazing, and this is exciting. Like, we should do this, we should do that. But then when it's not in the moment, then it kind of like starts to drift apart. I think it's going to happen, though. I definitely think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be really fun.
When Josh comes on here, I'm going to ask him the same fucking shit. So
yeah, that's fine. Because at least if he ruins something, then that's fine. I just don't want to be the person.
It's so funny, man, because like whenever something will leak about Coheed, like the tour announcement got leaked early, and this is going to come out like a month after the tour, so whatever. But I texted him like, "Hey, man, tour announcement got leaked." He's like, "Are you fucking serious?" I'm like, "So you're playing with a used?" He's like, "God damn it, it did get leaked." Oh well, it happens. This happened every tour cycle, every new single. Like I texted him at 3:00 one morning. I'm like, "Hey, so the new song coming out is called You Got Spirit, Kid?" And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, it got leaked on a Japanese website and people are sending it everywhere." He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" He's like, "Blaze had this giant countdown going, and
it's something. I guess there's something cool about that, But yeah,
it does, and I don't like to be the one to tell him, but I feel like if I don't tell him, no one else is gonna be like, "Hey, man, you guys might want to check this shit out," because all the other fans are passing that shit around.
What we are hoping for is in some miracle that I end up on a cruise, and we'll see.
I have petitioned for that for a while, and I'm not even going on the cruise. And, like Josh he's asked me multiple times. I don't like boats, bro. I live in Florida. I fucking hate boats.
I don't blame you.
So I told all the guys, I'm like, all my friends that are going down there, I'm like, I'm going to drive down to Miami. I'll say bye, and then I'm leaving. And that's it. That's it for me. You guys enjoy the fucking show. I just don't want to be stuck on a fucking boat with how many thousands of people for 3 days. That sounds horrible to me.
Who knows?
I'd like to see you on there, and I'm glad that Weird Science has a performance on there, because generally he doesn't have a performance when it's the Coheed-based stuff.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so I'm really happy about that. Like, I'm surprised you haven't gone on tour with more quote-unquote bands. And I mean, you reference it on a couple songs. Was it Wolves that you referenced it on?
Yeah. When I signed with Equal Vision, there was a few things that we talked about, and the one thing was like, can I tour with other bands? Will a hip-hop artist be able to kind of mesh with them and not take too much away? Like, it's fine if I go on stage and somebody says I'm not really into it, but if you're completely like, oh, what is this? Right. I wouldn't even want to be a part of that, So we ran test runs, and the couple people from the label were there. I did one with I the Mighty, Northern Faces, I want to say their name was. Maybe like something else. There was a couple so there's a couple bands that were on there, and I remember being backstage, and there was this like indie rock group. I can't remember their name, but I remember them talking amongst themselves and just being like, the first band that was on was kind of like a screamo type of band, and I remember hearing them talk and them being like, man, what are we going to do? We're coming up next. We're an indie rock band. And I walk over them like, guys, I do hip-hop. I'm like, you have nothing to worry about. Like, they're like, oh, okay, never mind, I'm fine. They're like, we'll be all right. I go on stage and completely win the crowd over. And I was actually, it was one of the first times that I got nervous for a performance, because Equal Vision was there. So I was like, if I mess this up, I mean, then, whatever. There is no more, like, we're not going to be able to tour with bands or do anything. But I went out there and they absolutely loved it. And so I thought for sure, I was like, okay, perfect. I did what I had to do. We had more meetings and stuff about who I would tour with, what would be a good fit, this and this. Every time it would be like a manager said no, or maybe somebody in the band, or maybe some, it was like all these things that I didn't know, because I'm thinking like, if this is delayed, just push me on anyway. Put me, and how I was too is I was like, guys, have me open for the people waiting online. I'm like, I'll do that. Like, it doesn't matter if people are just sitting there from 6 to 7 o'clock waiting for the first band. I'm like, just throw me on. So, but unfortunately, it never happened. It never worked out. I don't have any like bad things to say about Equal Vision, because it was really just kind of like a let's try it out type of thing. But I do definitely think that we could have done more. If they got me on just one of those tours, I think, like, it just sucks to never know. Like, I don't know how it would have worked. And also I'm thinking too, if I get more fans, that's more money in your pocket.
It's a win-win.
And I was, I'm traveling with nothing. I even told them actually too. I said, because I know a couple people that are like drummers or guitarists, anything. And I'm like, look, if you want to, I feel like that would be less intimidating if I came out with at least a couple like live instruments or something. So like, so it's not just straight like, yeah, just straight. Like at least it's something that. So I brought all of that stuff up too, and unfortunately, just never.
As someone who's not in the music business but loves music as much as I do, and been to as many shows and shit as I have, like, I've found some interesting things along the way. Like, I was talking to Less Than Jake, the band him and I have known forever, local Florida band. I've probably seen them 20 fucking times, right? And so it was a really weird. Last time they were down here, it was a really weird tour package, and I pulled up one of the guys aside. I'm like, "Hey, man, how do you know these guys?" He's like, "Oh, we have no idea who they are." He's like, "Sometimes they'll just package you with people that have nothing in common with you at all and just send you out on the road, and you never even talk to them the whole time." I'm like,
wow.
Like, why? Like, fuck that. That would be awful. Like, this band pulled up in a bus, this band pulled up in a van, and this band pulled up in like a Datsun with a U-Haul. You know what I mean? And it was just, they didn't talk at all. They all went their separate ways. I'm like, that's such a weird tour. It's like, we had no say. It was just like, hey, you're booked here. These guys are opening for you, and this band's opening for them. And we're like, but those bands don't work with us. They're like, yeah, whatever. The show sold out. We don't care.
How long ago was this?
This would have been like 4.5, 5 years ago.
See, part of me wonders. I'm not in the same industry, and I don't know how the inner workings now. But one thing that I feel like I've kind of gleaned over the last year since the pandemic hit, just doing learning how to do podcasts, buying a new computer, teaching myself how to edit, like. It feels like this kind of gave everybody the opportunity to cut out that middleman bullshit and see, like, we don't need you guys. We can do this shit on our own, and we can have fun doing it with each other. It feels like when we were kids, trading tapes and shit with each other and getting into stuff the same way. I don't know much about Patreon, but that very much feels like that when I read about Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon's interesting. The issue that I have is, if, like, there's so many things I want to do, but you can't really do it without a bigger audience. So if I do something where, if I say, hey, I'm going to do a live stream, and I open it up and I have 2 people in there, and I'm like, come on, guys, ask me questions. It's like, oh, well,
yeah.
Hello, it's just like that. It's like this weird kind of thing,
Put a much toy in your ass for $20. I'll ask you questions.
There's a lot more I wish I could do. Yeah, there's sorry. There's a lot of things, even like voting, voting on certain things. If I have 3 people that vote. It's not much
Trust
of a...
me, we know exactly how that goes.
It's difficult to be in... I don't know. It's amazing because I love the fact that people are still sticking with me, and I try to give them everything I can. I tried, like recently I bought these like drink coaster things that were actually really good quality, and they came out really dope. And at first I was trying to think like, okay, do I want to sell these? Do I want to do this or whatever? But then I'm like, man, you know what? I feel like I want to do more stuff for the Patreon people. So I'm like, you know what? Here, everybody that's, at least on this tier, at least,
Right.
At least I can give them something, that there's something that isn't completely killing the bank,
Yeah.
but, I was just like, I want to show people how thankful I am for it, but it's tough to be,
No,
it's tough when you don't have enough people. I'm very, and then to get more people, you have to do more stuff. So I'm like, man, I'm stuck in this
I was
weird
telling
thing.
Doug like how you've gone on some tours that aren't traditional tours, if you will, like like touring with Tiny Texie and
Yeah.
So what was
Yeah.
that tour like, dude?
Hold
Hold on, wait.
That
Let's preface
one,
this. Can you explain to Doug who Tiny Texie is?
Yeah.
yeah. So she's the world's smallest proportionate adult entertainer. So she's 3'6", but like proportioned, if that makes sense.
So she looks. She's not like
so
the
like
typical
how-
dwarf. She actually looks like just a smaller human.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm watching his gears turning right
So
Oh, Google's going to be turning in a minute.
she might be on the yeah. She might be on the website. So I randomly, again, another side thing that I was just doing is I make custom songs for people if they whether it's for I made some for like people's podcasts or for their game streaming, things like that. Or even just in general, I would hey, if you want to talk about this certain thing, and I'll put it into a song and do that. So I did a lot of those things, and then when I saw her, I was like, this is amazing, and I made a custom song for her, just thinking like, and I just sent it out, and then they messaged me, then her manager messaged me, it's like, yo, we love it, do you mind like if she dances to it, blah blah. I'm like, yeah, of course, and I don't have experience with making music for strip clubs exactly. So what I did is I remixed a song that I know is played a lot in strip clubs, and I just switched the words to like talk about her. So that way it didn't like skip a beat with anybody. That was like, people would just be listening, they hear the beat and they go,
What the
wait a
fuck?
second, this is about you though. Like, this is crazy. So it started like that. Then I ended up actually making like an original beat to it and stuff, whatever, so they didn't get copyright claim, blah blah blah. But yeah, so it started from that. Then they were like, hey, we're doing a show out in maybe Rhode Island, I think, and something like that. And or they said, if you want to come out, just whatever, we're gonna be doing this. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go. I got, what better opportunity? I'm not gonna have this opportunity, like ever again. I'm gonna literally watch the world's smallest proportion adult entertainer dance to one of my songs. I was like, I can't not do this. So I go out there and I meet her. I meet like her whole team and everything, and we all got along really well. So then it was like, hey, do you want to... I was first supposed to go on as a DJ. And, I might have said that I DJ more than I actually do. But, either way, I was like, it couldn't be that difficult. But I knew how to put, like, sets together and things like that. So that's what I was supposed to first be on. But then I ended up being, like... I was, almost like assistant manager. I was, doing everything besides what I was supposed to do, and it was cool. We went to a different strip club pretty much like every night, and she would put on an amazing performance. Like she would do like these I can't think of
headliner?
the word for it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. There's
Okay.
yeah, like the featured act, type of thing. So and then so she would come out and do her whole thing, and I'd be either setting stuff up for her or holding up black lights or whatever, like doing all this kind of stuff, making sure everything was good. So it was definitely interesting, and that's actually part of the reason why I made it out here and why I ended up in Vegas is because I met a bunch of people while on tour out here, and I've been wanting to kind of just like make a move somewhere else. I don't know, just kind of was like, let me see if I can do it.
I think you're low-key
or
saying
something,
right now
but
that you're filming porn and not telling people. That
I edit porn.
is awesome,
I
dude.
do.
Oh man, motherfucker!
Doug has seen a lot of your work, I'm sure.
First of all, you're living my dream. Second of all, awesome job. Third, I hope I don't have to go through a lot of Glade plugins, but
yeah.
That is awesome.
It's yeah, and I've been making like beats and like my roommate like films and edits porn and stuff. He does a lot of stuff also, and I'll make like beats and stuff for him because he'll do like funny skits, like funny adult skits. Like one thing they'll have. This is always a good.
does your buddy
Just to kind of so you understand kind of what's going on. Well, this is even better.
Okay.
So you remember as a kid, when you remember that game where like you would have the little fishing pole and the little fish.
Oh yeah.
Would like
Oh,
try to
Jesus.
grab it. So they do that, but there'll be a girl at the end of the stick of the fishing pole is a butt plug, and then so they'll sit up and they'll sit and try to catch the fish. So
Tom will randomly, unbeknownst to him at times, go live, and he doesn't know he's going live.
on Instagram.
Yeah, so this is about a month ago. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting home from driving, and Tom's going live. He doesn't know at all he's live, and he's death metal screaming "I Want It That Way" by the Backstreet Boys.
It's a great song, man.
It was and then he's like, at the end, he's like, "Are you recording?" And then the phone goes down real quick.
That's awesome.
And I'm watching this like, this is the best fucking thing I've ever seen, because he has no idea that it's going out to the world.
I taught you how to screen record, dude.
Dude, this was long before you taught me how to screen record.
some crazy things happen in this house in general. But
I can imagine.
It's cool. I mean, it's really cool, and like I actually met like a lot of really cool people and everything through it. But it's also, I mean, I have to, because like now everything's opening back up. I barely even started to like see what the music scene's like. Just kind of like spreading the word of like, yeah, I do this, but like I haven't even. And to be honest too, is I'm going back and trying to remember my fucking lyrics.
In so long.
Because I haven't performed in over a year. Dude. Yeah, like I don't even know if I know how to perform.
You'll be fine,
like,
dude. I mean,
it's weird.
But when I made the joke about you doing porn, it was leading into another joke, but then you hit me with, yeah, I edit porn. So it kind of buried the lead. But
let me go back to my porn joke, even though it's already ruined.
No, not at all. This is what I had pictured, though. I pictured, because I told Doug about your Firuza Balk tattoo. And I'm just picturing one day Doug's watching some POV, and all of a sudden he just sees Firuza Balk, and he's like, wait a minute.
I'll screenshot it and post it on Instagram. I interviewed this guy once.
Well, actually, speaking of tattoos, I got this while I was on tour. Let me see if
Tiny Sexy.
So it's
That's awesome.
So it's her.
You
Like,
got her logo. That's cool.
Yeah, because like I don't know. I mean, I have enough tattoos now that I don't really care.
Right.
What I get, but 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 that was that was definitely a time.
Yeah, you guys
Sure.
did one Florida date, and I couldn't
it-
make it because I was doing something. I was like, I really want to go to the show, but I had to work, and I was like, how do I explain to my wife that I'm calling off of work to go to a show that just happens to be at a strip club? Like, how can I justify this without getting kicked out of my house?
I mean, a lot of people thought I was performing too, and I had to tell them that I wasn't, because it wasn't, I was just completely, I was kind of like crew, on a band's tour or something, just like being crew and whatever, making sure that she's good and just stuff like that. But it's interesting. I mean, I must say, from going from somebody who made Chemical Imbalance, the last place I would have expected to be in my music journey is probably on tour with like strip clubs.
That's a big difference between thematic material.
It's such a strange thing, but it's great too because also I've always had I've always juggled between I enjoy making funny stuff, and then also if I and then just being human. That's what I always take it as. It's just like some you have good days, you have bad days. I just happen to record both, and whatever happens. That it is what it is. But also not putting like a I didn't want to put like a ceiling on exactly where I think what's right, what's wrong. I mean, there was part of me who thought I was like, Jesus, people are gonna now see me on tour with this, with this fucking like I'm doing a porn tour now, and they're gonna be like, what the hell is going on?
Who cares?
I'm like, man,
who cares?
I do like this is like to me. I'm like, yeah, and it's amazing just where music can take you. Honestly, in general, I mean, again, even like I was saying before, how. To even get here, like to right now that we're all having this conversation, it's like if it wasn't for music, none of it would happen. If it wasn't, I would have never met Josh. I would have never met Ern. Probably,
and that's
like all
kind
this.
of like the whole point of how we started this particular podcast. Was the idea was talk about music, talk about the people that have inspired us, and just try to find out how they got to where they are. And
it's actually working in a weird way. It feels like it is. It feels like it kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, so we put out an episode, like, he talked about a guy that he really, really enjoyed, and then that guy retweeted the video, and it...
Oh, it's the Andrew WK?
So, that little video was viewed a ridiculous amount of times just because he retweeted it, and I called Doug, I'm like, hey, man, this has been viewed by a lot of people now, and I sent him a screenshot, and he's like, what? What just happened?
I was at dinner, and I thought something had happened to your mom, because you kept hammering my phone, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, literally just got done eating. I'm a little stoned with my friends, and I'm like, I gotta figure out what's going on in that. And then I look down at the phone, and I'm just like, I got this dope-eaty grin on my face. What's going on? I'm like, my hero retweeted my show.
That's awesome. I mean, you guys. It doesn't. I mean, and to be completely honest, like it doesn't feel new. Like it doesn't feel like you guys are just starting it. The clips that I've seen and stuff. Like it doesn't seem. And I think just having like good chemistry with each other, it doesn't. Then it's like there's not much you really have to fill in other than just being yourself and like hey, we're literally hanging out having conversations.
And that was the whole concept. But on the downside too is we both tend to go off on tangents of shit we shouldn't say. And then so like the episode that's getting ready to come out,
Red State Doug.
It's basically it's every other word. I mentioned this one dude's name. I'll say it now so you can edit it out. So
you fucking asshole! I bleeped it out so many times.
So I mentioned his name. And I did that just so you'll have to bleep it out. But it like every 5 seconds you just hear a beep because this guy's name is said so many fucking times.
Oh, it drove me nuts cutting that fucking thing.
And we've known each other so long. It's just two old guys talking bullshit,
And why not is the thing too. I mean,
For so,
it really is. It's just like, why not?
For so long, I spent so much. I spent so much of my life just numbing everything out, and then I finally came out of that fog, like right before 40, and like the pandemic hit, and like all I wanted to do was like I found myself. I've said this before. The pandemic for me, as somebody who doesn't have kids or isn't married, was like living in Batman 1989 Batman summer again. Like it was the summer of dreams, man. Like all of my creativity started to flood back. All of my desire to get healthier. I wish I could remember it. Before I'm going to go off on a tangent now too. Fuck it. You've been talking long enough, Bob. I don't even know the line, but we're talking about lines from songs. First of all, before we continue, thank you for letting us use link in bio as an intro and an outro, man. That is really fucking awesome, and I hope
definitely.
I hope I utilized it okay, Bob. You watched the final product. I think I did. Okay
I did, and we have another version being sent to us. Tonight.
Great. Well, I'm glad I put all that effort into it. Thanks. Awesome.
Well, you knew it was happening. You said I'd grab some pictures, send them to the guy. I did.
But I know I'm just fucking with you, man. Calm down,
fucking
kid. Calm down, pumpkin. I was listening to Lincoln Bio today, thinking about like where I've come in life and who I am now. There is a line on it, like I see you on. I think it's the right line. I see you on your grind, trying to stay healthy. If I remember correctly, it's like in the beginning of the song.
Yeah.
And like that started to affect me because that's been. I mean, Bob will definitely tell you, but like that's been my personality for like the last couple months in particular, since I really kind of cranked up, just changing my outlook on life, getting more positive, getting healthier with everything, and like everything started flooding in all at once. And at my age and the way my brain's deteriorated, it's tough to kind of maneuver through all of it all at once. And I'm doing my best, but like
For sure.
doing the podcast definitely helps. But like I tell him like, who the fuck's gonna want to listen to us? Like when I edit this shit and I listen back, I'm like, I wouldn't pay to listen to me, let alone listen to me for free. Who the fuck likes this? And then he's like, yeah, I've got Upgrade coming on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? I'm like, he wants to come on? And they're like, Andrew WK retweeted your show, your clip. I'm like, why? Like it baffles me. It really does. I'm grateful, but like, I don't know. It's just it's for the first time in my life. I feel like I'm at that point where like I'm accepting. I finally feel like I'm accepting good things in my life. Like it's okay to accept it. I had a tough time accepting that it was okay to have good shit happen to you. I'm not used to it, and I think partly it is my fault. I abuse myself, but I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with it, man. I'm just grateful to have you on. I'm grateful to life in general.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think also, you hope that, you hope people that you reach out to or whatever it is that, that not everybody is lack of better words, not everybody's just an asshole, like, and actually doesn't mind that, oh, wait,
right.
How many followers do they have? How many of this do they have? I mean, like, when you just think like, hey, we all started somewhere, we all whatever. I personally love doing podcasts like this. I like having conversations about things. I like diving deeper into things that people might not know. But it's just like at the same time, I'm just like, if I'm in it having a good time, it's like I don't care about the other parts of it. I do hope one day that I'm famous enough where I can feel like that, but it's not.
I secretly desire that too.
I do want to eventually be the asshole. Yeah, it's like I would actually love that, but you always want. It's the same kind of thing. I think also if you go to a show, and you hope that your favorite artist or whoever it is will take time to say, hey, what's up? How you doing? And just like a little thing like that goes a way.
It does.
So.
I've told this, I think it was on the other podcast, but the last show I was at, pre-COVID, it's a punk band that I've been listening to for over 20 years, and I finally got to see them. I'd had tickets 3 other times, and all 3 times something went wrong, and I couldn't go to the tour. So I'm up front against the stage, and then there's another dude older than me. It's a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds up front, and then like kids on the side. And so we were calling it like the punk rock retirement club up front. And at the end of the show, the drummer throws down the set list. And this kid grabs it, and I just fucking knocked it out of that kid's hand and took it. And his dad's like, "That's what you get, bitch." Like his dad was like, "You don't try some shit like that with us old people."
That's amazing.
It was. I just fucking smacked that kid and give me that, and it's sitting over on my wall right now.
What show? You didn't even say what show it was.
It was face to face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was face to face. Yeah, and I was at a show one night, and you know how you're packed in at these shows. Somebody threw a drumstick up. I don't even remember what show it was. I think it was Ben Harper. I don't know. But I jumped up to grab it, and I just elbowed this poor lady in the mouth, and I felt awful. I'm like, "Here's your drumstick."
Yeah, like, no, I was just getting it for you.
I'm short, so I don't.
Yeah.
I'm 5'5". So, but yeah. So when I met you, I was the exact opposite. I was in good shape, whereas Doug was not, and now it's going the other way around.
Oh man, don't feel hey, you're only in bad shape for now. It's not permanent. You'll get better.
So I'm gonna post a photo of when we met in this video, and people will be like, "What the fuck? That's the same dude." Well, he's got a beard, so other than that, it's kind of the same. But
no, you look like a completely different person when you were in shape.
Oh yeah, you think? I weighed 140 pounds, dude.
I never knew you like that though. Like him and I weren't talking, and I left. I never knew that version of you. So when we started talking again and started looking at each other on FaceTime, I'm like, yeah, it's the same old Bob. And then you started sending me photos of that period, and I'm like, is this like multiverse? Like, are you like a...
At that show, I did that arm wrestling hustle on Josh at that show, the same one that I did to John in our video.
Oh, okay.
I tried to get Upgrade to arm wrestling, and he wouldn't do it on video.
I don't blame him. Smart man.
Yeah, that was smart.
No, but there's a video that went around of me arm wrestling one of our other podcast hosts, and it's a parlor trick. Like my arm can't literally be put down because my wrist is broken at a horrible angle, so my hand can't touch the table. So I'll arm wrestle anybody.
So you're
like I don't even try.
You're like Paul Newman in The Hustler, and you just okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I try.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So Josh is like, dude, there's no way I can beat you. I'm like, Josh, I'm not gonna try. And then he's like, well, I want to go down. I'm like, it can't. So, but yeah, I remember I was asking you, and you're like, nah, man, nah.
Yeah. No, I could have probably already knew that there was some kind of scam going on.
I'm shady. I stayed that way for about 5 years, and then once I ruptured my arm, that was the end of that.
That was the greatest thing I've ever heard, to hear somebody say, you were scary looking, you were ripped, and I'm like, as long as I've known him, everybody's been scared of him, and he's been short, fat, and stubby like a little dwarf in the rings. It's just
people are all like, people see my face and they get scared of me, and I don't understand it. I'm not a mean person. I can be, but
yeah.
I have like resting bitch face, I guess. I don't know.
I've never seen it.
I get, it's fun. It is it's an interesting thing. I was actually having this conversation with somebody else recently that I'm meeting a lot of new people obviously out here and stuff. And there was one time where somebody said something. He was just like, he's like, hey, he's like, Upgrade. You're a good guy, man. He's like, I'm not gonna lie. At first, like I saw you had like tattoos on your necks and this, and then I forget that I almost have them. Because then I'm just like, what? I look at you, like, what are you talking about? Like, you're crazy. Like, not even close. Then you just forget, like, some other people's, like, perspective and stuff.
People have a very different perspective of you based on how you look, and they will assume certain things, and, and I've talked about this in the podcast. So I picked up a cop one night for a rideshare drive, and I was playing Fuck the Police at the time that I picked him up. And he was really cool about it, and I was like, all right, cool, because I was like, this is awkward as fuck, great. I'll turn people on to stuff, and I play all this different stuff, and so when I get certain people, I know they're gonna judge me, like guys who look like me, who look like bikers and shit. they'll get in the car, and as they're walking to the car, I'll quickly change it, and I'll put on like Taylor Swift, and they're like, so I have
great.
so much fun just playing music in the car. That's all I do all night is just play music and drive around drunk morons. It is the best.
It's just a pipe dream. But like pimping out your car, like internally having like purple lights put through the interior and then purple lights underneath it, and just film you picking up passengers for the entire length of Purple Rain and just cut that into a nice little short film. I would be so entertained by that.
That would be great.
Dude,
I would be so excited if I walked into that Uber.
I just put a grill on my subs, and I almost put a grill that would have been wired to my battery to send purple lights every time it hit. And I was like, do I want to do that? Because then you got to have a remote control up on your dash and shit.
Worth it.
And I'm like,
yeah.
Worth it.
And I'm like, how over the top do I want to go with this? You know? And how much can I do again without my wife killing me? Because I used to be in a job where I got a discount on all that shit. I don't have that job anymore. So
this is why we need to like get sponsorship so you can monetize do your own thing and monetize your Lyft sharing experience. We can edit videos and do fun music and all that. Yeah, man.
If you're watching, Kicker, please send me some more Solo Barracks. But
and Fresh Coast Extracts out of Michigan. If you're watching, send me free concentrates or vape cards. That'd be dope. I'll talk the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And if AP O'Neill is watching this by some off chance, fly me to California so I can play pinball and stare at your boobs.
Yeah.
So Doug is the opposite of Tom in this respect. Doug loves weed.
Well,
I know you're.
To be fair, it's not. It started off as a love, and now it became more of like something that I utilize to work out with. It's like coffee for me in the morning more than anything. I just can't stop doing it throughout the day because it improves my mood.
It's great. I mean, it's great. I see Earn do that all the time. And there's some people that, I mean, they could just fully function off of it, and that's when I came to the conclusion that it wasn't for me. I was like, I'm having panic attacks and stuff every time I smoke, or I'm getting super paranoid. I'm like, this is not what
other people feel like.
I don't think so. And then I had my good times, and all I would like to do was like just eat and watch movies. Or listen to music or something, and all of those things were nice, but like it was like one too many times I had like a bad experience, and I was just like, fuck, I guess it's just not for me.
You mentioned Earn. He used to go live every day when they were in Colorado, every morning, like his first blunt of the morning, his whole bit.
Yeah.
And Doug, you would have appreciated this because Earn had this set up in his kitchen counter, like the way normal people have spices. Earn had different bottles of different flour. And they were all labeled, and sometimes he would smoke one that color coordinated with his outfit.
That's awesome.
Like by the name.
That's fucking
and I'm
awesome,
like,
dude.
And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? Earn is out there just living his best life, dude. Like, I don't give a fuck.
That's all any of us want, man.
He is.
No shirty dirty.
And it's great, too. Like, I mean, he, because now he's out here in Vegas, too, and, I mean, he smokes... like and functions fine, like even better. Honestly, he gets more work, dude, because he'll do the same thing with like you were saying, working out. Like he'll literally smoke before work, and I look at him like, are you fucking crazy?
Me, him, and Weird Science went to the gym one day before a show, and we get into Nick's car, and Ern's like, I don't have my pen. And Nick's like, I do, and Earn's like, quick, I need to hit that before we work out. And I was like, what the fuck? Because this was when I was in, like, just solid workout mode. Josh wouldn't lift with us because he was drumming that night, and he doesn't do, like, arms and shit on nights he's drumming, which makes total fucking sense.
Absolutely.
And so Earn's doing my workout with me, and then he's like, man, my arms already hurt. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be a long night for both of us, because the show didn't start for, like, 5 more hours. You have the delayed onset muscle soreness coming. Like it's definitely coming. But that particular show, we were 3 hours later meeting them than we were supposed to. My buddy Nick, who's a big fan of yours, we were supposed to be meeting them in, I want to say it was Tampa, somewhere like that. But Nick's like, oh, I want to bond me. So we took a 2 hour
What's that?
a fucking sandwich. He took a 2-hour side drive.
Is that the Vietnamese?
To get a Vietnamese sandwich.
Worth it. If it's a pork belly, worth it, man.
2 hours out of the way. So we missed working out with the rest of the band because they got tired of waiting on us. And I'm like, thanks, Nick, you piece of shit.
It's worth it. It was worth it.
I'm sure this cabbage and carrot sandwich was totally worth this drive.
Oh God, they're so delicious. You literally talked about going to Miami to drop friends off to a cruise and then driving away. Fuck you.
Yeah, but I'll get a Cuban sandwich while I'm there. I mean,
oh my God,
I'll get a Cuban sandwich anywhere I go. That's a different story.
I miss Cuban sandwiches.
Yeah, see, Upgrade, when me and Doug first met, I lived with this dude. And he made fun of me the first day he woke up. I was eating breakfast. My breakfast
Are we
consisted
really going
of...
to relive this? Like,
Yes,
we relived it
motherfucker.
multiple times on the podcast.
No. It doesn't have to go in there. So I'm eating Ritz crackers with cheese and pepperoni. That was my breakfast. And he looked at me like I was fucking nuts. And he's giving me shit. And then I wake up one morning to piss. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I hear a deep fryer going. And I'm like... fuck? And I go into the kitchen. This motherfucker's deep frying mozzarella sticks and chicken. Fried chicken at 4 o'clock in the morning. He's like, what? As if...
Yeah, the same time frame. I was working at the radio station. I remember walking into the early morning shift with Lee, and I had a bag of fried chicken gizzards and a Jolt Cola, and he just scratched his head, went on the air, and he just looked at me, and I'm like, you're on the air. And he's like, yeah, I know I'm on the air. You're eating gizzards and drinking Jolt Cola at 6 in the morning. What the hell is wrong with you?
That was so good.
That was a different version of me, though. Not like that anymore, Bob. Not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Veggies and fruit
on
only.
Friday.
Protein.
Hey,
on Friday.
You're not here to complain, let me explain. I try to appreciate all of my struggles and how far I came. Let me explain. Count up the losses, forgetting how much that I truly have gained. Let me explain. There's pleasure and pain, what glitters and gold. My mission is to grab a hold in. Yeah. Imagine them calling me a new artist, like I'm just getting started. I said buying alcohol and still getting carded. I am feeling young again, I am feeling awesome. I am taking every opportunity and market. Never in a box till they put me in the coffin. Middle fingers up to anyone who said I lost it. Haters get the gas face legend like I'm costing.